AI is taking over the world. Every news article indicates that the future belongs to the AI. And everyone is afraid that sooner or later AI will be taking over their roles. And if that's even remotely true, that means that there will be many more AI related jobs than we currently have. And we are already seeing that trend in the job postings. Since I've been working in the field of AI for the last 1 decade, I wanted to share some thoughts with you that if you want to transition into an AI engineer, then what is the most optimal route you can take? But before we go into answering that question, let me share some stats with you. This is a report from McKinsey which indicates that by the year 2030, around 400 to 600 million jobs will be eliminated because of the AI automations. And the same report also indicates that the investment in technology, mainly in AI, will be up by 50% by the year 2030. So the best way to future-proof your jobs and ride this wave of AI, you should seriously consider becoming an AI engineer yourself. And how you can do it in the minimum period of time, that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. Since AI is becoming more and more prevalent with each passing day, we are seeing many new AI-related jobs are being created. Now, there are some jobs which are relatively easier and less technical. For example, being prompt engineer, data labeler, AI product manager, and then there are some roles which make sure that AI is behaving in an ethical way. These roles are very easier to get into, and it is expected that the market for them will be saturated very fast, and there won't be enough jobs, and they also won't pay as much. And then there is a second category of jobs which AI is creating. These are relatively more difficult to get into but are well paid, and the competition in them won't be as much. Some examples of these roles are Gen AI engineer, ML engineer, ML research scientists, etc. Now, I won't recommend becoming an ML research scientist for someone who does not have very academic background, but because for that you have to read many books like these, and a lot of these books are just so much math heavy that it becomes very difficult path to get into. And instead, what I would recommend is the role of ML engineer or Gen AI engineer, because these two roles are very related, and once you get into one, you can apply to jobs related to both. So now let's break down that what is the most effective way for you to become an ML engineer with no prior background. Now, one little quick disclaimer here, that even when I'm saying that it doesn't require any prior background, there are some prerequisite skills like basic computer literacy, basic English understanding, etc., which you would require to start on this track. The first thing which you would have to do is you would have to develop some basic programming proficiency. And I would suggest starting with Python because this is the mostly used programming language in the field of AI. And you don't have to learn very advanced concepts. You just need to know the basics of data manipulation, how do you apply different algorithms, how do you treat the natural language data, and how do you install basic Anaconda on your laptop, etc. The second thing which you would have to learn is basic ML concepts. Again, ML is a very technical field to be in, so you have to make sure that you just remain at the surface and don't go very deep into it. You just need to know how do you do train test split of the data, how do you measure the accuracy, performance, F1 score, confusion metrics, etc. How do you effectively perform A/B testing, and have some very basic understanding of some basic ML algorithms. I know it sounds very intimidating, but in a bit I'll cover what are the resources you can use to very easily go through these. Once you have gone through these two, that means you have developed some basic foundation level knowledge, and then you need to learn the tools and the libraries so that you can use the latest Gen AI tools. Since as a programmer, you won't be able to use the user interface or the website of ChatGPT or Gemini, you have to programmatically interact with them. So you need to know how the RAG pipelines work. What is a vector DB? How do you find the vector similarity score? And lastly, once you have developed all this theoretical knowledge, you have to put it into practice by doing at least 3 projects, and you should be putting them into the GitHub so that you can share it with the recruiters at the time of job hunt. Now, coming to the resources which you can use to learn all these 4 things. So for Python, there is a very good, very beginner-friendly course by Jose Portilla on Udemy. You can find it for about $15 to $20. It is a very easy and comprehensive course. I'll post the link link for that in the description below. As for learning the basics of ML concepts, since this is the most scary part, I would highly recommend using this book. This book starts from very basics, like how do you calculate average, what's the difference between mean and standard deviation, and then it builds on top of it. And it covers most of the fundamental machine learning concepts which you should know about. It also has Python example codes for each of the exercises and examples it covers. So overall, I think if you just go through this one book and do all the exercises, that you'll have enough ML knowledge that you can start applying for jobs. Coming to the third aspects of learning the tools and libraries related to AI, especially related to Gen AI, I think the one website which covers most of these is the deeplearning.ai. It is a website created by Andrew Ng. It has some very fabulous, mostly free courses on it. So I would encourage spending some good amount of time going through these courses, doing the exercises they are recommending to develop a deeper understanding of how these different algorithms are working and how do you put it to practice. And lastly, for portfolio projects, there are many example projects on Kaggle.com. It is a website which is now owned by Google, where different people provide you some real life scenario and the data so that you can practice on that within the Kaggle platform. And the best part is that there are many other people who are also working on the same project and you can see what they are doing. So not only you can try whatever approach you have in mind, you can also see what approaches other people are trying there to maximize your learning. In terms of time allocation, I would try to spend 1 month of dedicated learning to learn Python basics, and then 1 month to go through this book, and then a good 3 months on trying different projects and going through all the courses which are offered on deeplearning.ai. And lastly, I'll spend 1 month on building some portfolio projects, at least 3 on Kaggle.com. So this adds up to about 6 months. I think if you have a dedicated schedule to work on this for 6 months and you go in this order, by the end of 6 months, you'll be better than most of other applicants which are trying to get into AI. And then you can start applying. I've created a separate video on the topic of how you can stand out in your job hunt to maximize your chances of landing a job. The link for that should be somewhere here. Please check it out. Thank you so much for watching.